Today we have lovely Curly who will share her magic around Feng Shui and how we can apply it practically. It's not just about the theory, but it's more around um, practical application and how we can use it for everyday life, for our business, and how to prepare for 2025. And Curly will mention about that this is a part one, and this part one is for free. It will be available publicly, and hopefully you're watching it on YouTube. Those who are watching on replay, we plan to do part two ways. Part two will be at the Magical Creators Live on 9th of November in London, Heathrow. You're welcome to join. Tickets are still available. But if you watch this video after 9th of November, we will be doing part two online as well. And I will inform you when we have date and time arranged. It will be paid session because to kind of align together with people who paid for Magical Creators Live event. So, but it will be very, very affordable. So if you're watching this on YouTube, try to find the link in the description for part two, or send me a message, find me on socials. So find me on socials, and I haven't presented myself. My name is Inga Dexter. I'm the founder of Magical Creators and Magical Creators Live event. It's a platform, an event for intuitive entrepreneurs who want to thrive in their business, for people who want to create huge impact in this world, who want to develop themselves, their skills, and they are ready to transform their lives and lives people around them. So this is Magical Creators, and I believe we are all magical creators because we create magic with our work, with our personalities, and it's enough. Like, we are enough. So thank you for being here. Those of you who joined us live, thank you for watching the replay. And I'm shutting up, and the stage comes to Curly.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Inga. I want to welcome everybody this evening to the live session. And of course, if you watch it recorded, welcome to you too. So very quickly, we don't have very long, and I want to give you as much as I possibly can. So a very short introduction to who I am. So I am Kurly Marwaha, and I have been practicing Feng Shui for almost 30 years. Mind you, I've been saying that for a few years now. And the reason why I am so passionate about Feng Shui, and I'm delighted to see you all on here today, is because, you know, we live in a day and age where we need results and we need them yesterday, right? This is just the truth of our lives. We live in a world full of competition, and Feng Shui is one of these things that can deliver enormous results very quickly and impactfully, so that you can then feel that sense of being lucky, or like things are really working out for me. That seriously genuine sense of gratitude. I used Feng Shui initially when I was a teenager, to improve my health and clear a condition that was very, very serious, radically, you know, to the point where doctors thought I was cured. And so once you've had something like that happen in your life, obviously you do become passionate about something. And in the years since, I've used it with a lot of entrepreneurs. I use it in my own life, and I've used it with families and private individuals, as well as in commercial environments. So that's enough about me. If there is anything else you wish to know, then please do contact me directly. You can always contact Inga, but I do hope that you will attend Magical Creators Live, because we'll be in the room together, and there's no interaction like a face-to-face, in-person interaction.
Curly, I wanted to ask, because I know There are some people who are complete newbies to Feng Shui. So if you can keep that in mind,
so I'm going to share my screen and absolutely will give you an introduction to Feng Shui as well. And thank you for that reminder, Inga. So I am going to leave the little things at the side because I know people like to know and be excited about what's coming next. First of all, Feng Shui. This particular masterclass is called How to Unlock Your Home Blueprint to Unlock Prosperity in 2025. What is Feng Shui? Feng Shui is the science of how the environment, how your environment can affect you in your life. And obviously, we have a focus today and in magical creators around our businesses. So I will specifically be homing in on business feng shui. Now, this is hot property. I can tell you this now. Feng shui is not about the building. This is the misconception. It's not about the furniture. It's not about the room. It's not about the paint colours. It's not about the orientations of your room. It is quite simply about you, your lives, and what you want. And the reason I say this is because the same building quite often gets used by multiple people. It might be because, it's been sold on from one business to another or one property owner to another. Yet, and they each have individual wants or needs. So when they each move into the property, we feng shui it slightly differently. And in the same light, we feng shui it slightly differently according to your changing needs as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that before I go into the home blueprint. Okay. Um, this particular masterclass. This masterclass is about business feng shui, as I just said. Okay, so we are going to focus in on business feng shui specifically. Feng shui is, however, something that one can apply to every aspect of one's life, whether it be romance, relationships, children, health, you name it. Anything that you can experience in life, dream for, or have a vision for, there is a feng shui solution for it or an application. And obviously, all business is about prosperity. And I use that term in its widest possible way because prosperity isn't just the money that you bring in. It's not just your cash flow sheet or your profit loss. Feng Shui is the connection. It refers to the connections that you make. It refers to the loyalty of your customers. Do they keep coming back to you? Do they refer other people to you? It refers to your reach and how it could be organic and far reaching and have a flow of its own. There is every aspect of business can once again be accessed through feng shui in terms of prosperity. We are going to talk about something that is very close to my heart, something that isn't talked about very often in Feng Shui, and that is it's all about the timing. So I'm going to give you a introductory explanation on that, and today I am going to give you a bonus gift on that as well. So we'll come to that shortly. We are going to talk about the single most powerful tool to access your feng shui and bring it to life. And the whole, just to give you the background, the whole reason for the existence of this masterclass is because I was talking to our lovely Inga in preparation for Magical Creators Live, which if you don't know about it and you're first hearing about it is this masterclass today, let me tell you, it's an amazing event. It's an event that is focused on entrepreneurs in business today who want to be impactful, who are out to create massive change meaningfully and in a prosperous fashion. And there's so when we do the magical creators this year, I said to Inga, I want to do a really practical session, a session where it's all about the application of feng shui. Frankly, I don't want to waste any time on the introduction, but of course I will briefly. And so I was explaining that actually to really make the most of that application, people need to understand this tool and they need to come into the room ready with this tool in their hands, personalized, so that then all we need to do is focus on the application, the solutions, and create the magic in the room for your feng shui, if you'll pardon my pun. And then we're going to talk about how good feng shui works as part of that and the next steps. Okay, it's going to keep it ever so simple. You'll see on a number of the slides, I have put my email address. If you're interested in the Magical Creators Live, you can contact me, you can contact Inga. It doesn't matter how you do it, we want you in the room. Absolutely want you in the room. Okay, so let me talk about the first subject that I'd like to talk about today, and that is timing. Okay, now timing is really, really important in feng shui. And let me just give you this simple explanation. Time, we live in an environment, in a life, in an experience of life where timing is radically important, right? Now, if I spoke to every single one of you a year ago, your lives looked entirely different. If I speak to every single one of you in a year from today or a month from today, your lives will be again different. The feng shui consultation that we do might be very different. The application that you do in any area of your life, in any way, shape, or form, will be different. And in the same way, we very powerfully account for timing in feng shui. So I've given you a couple of visuals there just to demonstrate this. So you see the first visual here, which is of a tree. Okay, a tree in spring is beginning to bloom. The same tree in summer is thriving. It's big, it's green, it's full of life. The same tree in autumn, which is the time that this particular masterclass is going out live, is starting to shed its leaves. It's getting ready for that austere time in winter where it goes into hibernation, right? To then come back to life in spring. And everything around us has timing. We see that in nature all the time. But let's use you and I as an example. You know, from the point that we are born and we're toddlers all the way through our lives, we're the same person in the same body, yet we're different people at each stage in a different version of our body, right? And in the same way, I would like to put it to you that your home, your office, whether it's in your home or out there, is also always changing. And it's a living, breathing entity in that respect. And if we are going to work with it and have it power up our lives and our businesses, we need to take account of that timing and the magic of timing. Have you ever heard that saying, or people talk about something happened, oh my God, it was fantastic, and they talk about, oh my God, I think I was just in the right time at the right place, right? This is part of that equation. Feng Shui is about feeling lucky in your lives day in, day out. It's about feeling that coincidences are coming to you all the time, and that they are landing in your lap with ease, almost without effort. I say almost because actually it takes action and intention to create our lives and our successes. Timing applies to nature, people, places, things, buildings in this context, and it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. I'm just going to give you very briefly an example of feng shui timing. I had a client a good few years ago, she's still with me, and she said to me, Curly, she rang me up, she said, Curly, I need more money coming in, please, thank you. And I said to her, okay, great. So is it A, that there's a problem with the money coming in already? B, that there's a problem with money going out? Usually it's too much, right? Or both those things are fine, and it's C, you just want more money coming in. And she said it was C. Okay. Now, this particular lady is an accountant. This is a really good goal for an accountant, right? How do we choose our accountants? We look at them and we think, are they the living example of money flow and success in prosperity in finances? And she is, by the way. Anyway, we did an activation. So we chose a particular day, a particular hour, a specific time, and I asked her to do something, placement in her property. This lady shared a house with her family. She lives in one of these extended family setups. And she rang me up 2 weeks later and she said, Curly, oh my God. And I thought, oh dear, this is either a very good oh my God, or it's a really, really bad oh my God. Okay. And she said, Curly, this meeting that I'd been trying to get for months to try and up my rate happened the day after the activation. I went in with files and files of information to make my case, and I basically said to the board that I think it's time for my rate to go up. I think that this is important for a number of reasons. And she said, before I had time to open my folder and start to present my case, they said, oh, somebody said, well, how much do you think it should be? Somebody else said, okay, let's vote on that. They voted, and somebody else said, right, okay, that's been voted in. Just let's talk about when you're going to start it. Let's do it as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. And it was done. She didn't need to present her case. The meeting happened as if by magic. And she walked out of there really confused because all this hard work she'd done was unnecessary. Now, I believe it was necessary because it gave her clarity in her mind and confidence. What also happened is her family, somebody in the family, her parents received a check for 33,000 out of the blue, an investment that they'd forgotten they'd even made. Somebody else who'd been looking for a job for nearly a year and a half landed a really great job. They're still in that role, progressed now. And she also had people contact her about an additional stream of income, a hobby that she participated in. And people said, oh, well, look, I'll pay you. And finally, somebody knocked on the door because she lived near a very large event venue and said, I see you've got 2 parking spaces, but only 1 car. If you give that parking space to me, I will rent it out for every event and we'll split the earnings and you never have to do a thing. This happened from one placement on a particular day and time. This is how powerful timing is. Okay. So I'd like you all to get your pen and paper out ready, and I'm going to give you your bonus gift for applying this today. Okay. So if you can write down, please, the 30th of October 2024. What I would like you all to do is, first of all, understand the energy of that day. And then secondly, plan You've got 9 days between now and then to plan your time, and I'm going to very carefully explain to you what you do with that date. Okay, so 30th of October 2024 is a really, really powerful day. Now, timing can be used by hour, day, month, year, chapter, or using something called guardian timing. This is where we link the timing of your personal chart to the timing of life generally, and it's very, very powerful. 30th of October 2024, that whole day has really fantastic energy for starting something new. It's great for a launch, it's great for a special offer, something new, something you're doing for the first time. That's my definition of initiating something new. Okay. Now, you can actually use this particular timing for any aspect of your life, whether it's a personal matter or a professional matter. We're obviously talking business feng shui. So, my invitation to all of you today is to use the 30th of October 2024 to start something new. That could be a new YouTube channel. It could be a new special offer. It could be a course. It could be a new webinar. It could be anything you choose that to be. Okay, towards the end of this masterclass, I'm hoping we're going to have time to do a short question and answer. It will only be 1 or 2 questions, but by all means, you can ask me a question about this. That's timing for you. Okay, let's move on and talk about the next thing. Right, Feng Shui, the most powerful tool you will ever have for Feng Shui is your floor plan. My God, that sounds boring. Right? Now, don't zone out. Bear with me, please. Just keep your attention with me. Don't start looking at your clock or your watch or your phone or go off to make a cup of tea. I promise you, you will agree with me by the time I finish talking about this. Okay. A floor plan is so very, very important because, and I'll show you, if you live in a completely open plan building, you can literally stand in the center of your building and you can stand there and put a compass on the floor, which is what I often say to people. I'm just going to stop the share for a moment to show you something. So that's what a feng shui compass looks like. Okay. I don't expect you to all go running out to buy one of these. They're very, very expensive. And a good one is hard to find. However, what you do all have, most of us have already got, or we can download for free, a compass on our phones. That's what that looks like. Okay. So what you want is on your phone, if you download a compass, you want one that shows all the little lines in between. Okay, that's really important. And that as you move it around, can you see at the top there, it's changing the degree and it's literally telling you. That's really important. What I normally say in a workshop to people is get your phone, find the center of your floor plan or your ground floor and just put it on the floor and then stand there above your compass and literally put your arms at the side, at the edges of each sector. So let's say we're trying to find the west sector. You would literally say, just as a compass is showing it, oh, there's the west sector, and just look in front of you. But the truth is, most of us live in houses or apartments or buildings where it's not completely open. There are walls. It's really hard to look through walls, I've discovered, as a human being. And I've tried, trust me, I've really tried. And I'm not being facetious, I promise you. When you stand in the center of your building and you put your compass down and then you leave that and you walk through the door and you go to the next room, Instead of focusing on your feng shui, what I find most people end up doing, myself included quite often, is we're trying to think, okay, well, where was the compass pointing? Where is that sector? And it's really, really hard to figure that out and do the feng shui diagnosis and application at the same time. Okay, so this is why I think the most important tool that you'll ever have for your feng shui is your floor plan, and I'm going to prove it to you. So here we have two hand-drawn floor plans, and I'm going to ask you to forgive me if I talk in a way that is equivalent to the Dummy's Guide, okay? And the reason that I'm going to do that is because, first of all, not everybody knows how to create a floor plan. B, not everybody knows how to do it in the right way for this. And C, not everybody is a visual person. Some people, not because they're not intelligent, etc., they just find it difficult to visualize things on paper in the way that they would if they were walking around their building. So it's a bit of a skill, or it's a bit of a character, personality trait to do these. So I've given you two examples here. The most important thing is keep it simple. You know, it's really easy to aim for an all singing, dancing, architectural masterpiece. But you know what? We don't need that. So don't go there and don't make it difficult for yourself. Or if you are really good at things like that, don't waste your time doing things that you don't need to do. This is what I would say to you. So this is a really, on the left here, you can see a really simple floor plan. And on the right, you can see a slightly more complicated one. And they're both for apartments. I used the floor plans for apartments because the most important thing is you use your main living floor for this. Okay, when we apply feng shui, we do so to our main living floor. Because we're doing business feng shui, if you work from your home, you want to make sure that you do this for the ground floor for your feng shui applications. But then if you use, say, a bedroom on the second or third floor or something like that, or a basement room for your office, then do that as a separate floor plan as well. Okay. The most important thing about your floor plan is to make sure that it's drawn to scale. Now, what does that mean? It means that all the rooms are in proportion to each other and that the diagram represents all the right proportions. That's really, really important because it must be easy to apply your feng shui correctly. And if this isn't a real diagram of your real floor plan, your real ground floor, then we're not going to be able to do that. And what this does is it enables you to draw out the layout of your house or apartment. What it enables you to do is apply certain things to it, which I'm going to show you how to do today, so that when it comes to doing the feng shui in the Magical Creators or in part 2, you just need to put your energy onto what you want to manifest, the solutions, as opposed to trying to understand. Okay, what this does is it magically manifests what you want onto paper. Now, we all know the power of writing something down, how it takes it from an imagined goal into something real, a form of matter through ink and writing, and it manifests it into a real form of matter, right? This is the equivalent in feng shui. It's a really powerful tool. I have in the past, I have to say, I have in the past used a floor plan to manifest the next home that I want to move to. and it's always worked for me. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody in Feng Shui suggest to any client or any audience that they can actually use a floor plan to manifest their Feng Shui goals. So this is another reason. It's literally a gateway. The second thing that I want to say is I want to go into explanation about what should your floor plan show. So it needs to show the size of each room in proportion to each other. So you're going to measure the walls. A really easy way to do this, and I am oversimplifying this on purpose, is you measure the two main measurements in each room and then you put them down on paper to scale so that they are the right scale. So in this one, for example, you can see the bedroom is a certain size smaller than the living room. Okay. It needs to show doorways and especially the main entrance. So we can see the entrance to the apartment or the house is here. And it needs to show your doorways, where they are, and roughly the size of them. Okay, you don't have to actually measure exactly each doorway. And that's why I've used this diagram, because you can see actually they're not exactly measured. That one's definitely smaller than that one, but I'm sure those two doors are exactly the same. The reason for that is doorways show you the point through which energy flows from one room to another. You're going to show windows as well as your main entrance because it shows how energy enters your property and leaves your property. You're going to show where your desk is because in business feng shui, that's the seat from which you activate your feng shui in terms of your business. Okay, and what do I mean by that? It's literally where you sit and you take actions on your business within your home, within its energy flow, therefore within its feng shui. You're going to show where your bed is. Why is this important in business feng shui? Not because we do business while we sleep, and not certainly not because I'm encouraging you to sit in bed and run your business from there all day. It's because business feng shui is about good business is a business that is in flow and it has energy, good energy coming into it constantly, and it's in balance and there's stability about it. So you, as the person who is running your business, needs to be in balance. When we go to bed, when we sleep, we literally rejuvenate our energy, right? So this is a really important point in your feng shui, in your home, that you're sleeping in the right position and you're maximizing your energy. Therefore, you can maximize the energy with which you operate your business. Okay, we're going to put in the toilets, the drains, the sinks, because these are the points where energy leaves your building and therefore can drain out. And we want these to be in good positions, or we don't want to be we don't want our feng shui to be favoring them. Okay, we want to put in where the cooker is or any fires. So I have a log burner in my home, and so that's marked in on my feng shui. Why do we put these in? Because fire and cookers are activation points in our feng shui. They literally light up the energy in our homes. Therefore, their position is very important. Okay, so once we've got all of those things on our floor plan, and remember, it can be as simple as the one on the left, or it can be like the one on the right. You'll see the one on the right. Let me see if I can zoom in for you a little. There we go. This one is obviously done by somebody who is a little bit more studious and likes detail. They have measured doorways, they have measured windows, they have put in a lot more detail, and that's fine. You can do that if it makes you feel better and it helps you visualize and orientate yourself around your feng shui. by all means do that. Okay, but as a minimum, you want something like the one on the left here. Okay. Um, I'm just going to ask Inga to unmute herself for a second, if you would, please, darling.
Yes.
Inga, can I just check in with you that I have explained that in a way that feels like it's logical and makes sense, please?
I think so, yes.
Okay, perfect, lovely. Thank you very much, Inga. So just some dummies guide things here very quickly. Make sure that and you will see from the one on the right, that person hasn't necessarily used a ruler. That's fine, but you do need your lines to be in at the right angles and proportionate, etc. So that is how we do the floor plan. Okay. I personally use squared paper. I use it because then all my lines are squared off. I don't have to waste time with protractors and all of these tools. I'm focusing my energy on the bit that matters to me, and that's getting all the rooms to the right size in the right places so that I can see my whole floor plan. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, this is what we're working towards. Okay, and that is how to put your compass onto your floor plan. The purpose of doing this is because we want to identify each of the areas on the compass, and we want to be able to see very, very easily where each area falls in our home. Okay, so you'll see with the one on the right, the one on the right has lots of walls, as I was explaining. If the person who lives in this apartment on the right put their compass, their phone on the floor and then said, oh, yes, the southwest is over there, by the time they get over into this room, they might not be so clear. Or by the time they get over into this bedroom here, they might not be so clear. Because they've got a floor plan, they can literally carry this floor plan around their building. But more importantly, it then shows you very, very clearly where each area is. Now, I have marked for you on the floor plan on the left the degrees for where each area starts and finishes, so that you can accurately draw onto your diagram where these areas are. Okay, and what we want to end up with is a diagram that shows us where each of the 8 sectors of the compass are: the southwest, the west, the northwest, the north, the northeast, the east, the southeast, and the south, in relation to your front door, in relation to your bed, in relation to your garage, in relation to your desk, all the different places that you sit, you stand, and you conduct your business. Now, some people welcome their clients into their home because their offices are there. Think about where they walk through into your home. Okay, do they come through the south and then your desk is in the northeast? Do they come through the southwest and then your desk is in that area too? Just think about the journey of your client. Think about, do you tend to do most of your emails and YouTubes at your desk, but then you actually go and sit in the north, your desk is in the northeast, and then you go and sit in the east because that's where you tend to sit and do your thinking and your working out and your planning. Do you tend to go and make your calls when you're in the west, for example? Really think about this. The whole purpose of your floor plan and accessing the magic portals of energy that you do through this is in understanding not just where the areas are, but where do you live your life and how do you use this. And this on the right is what you end up with. Okay, so you'll see on the right that this person has a dining table that is crossing 2 areas, and in this particular example, this person sits at this dining table to run their business. Okay. Now, the reason why I've used this example is because, quite often how we use our offices and how we run our business can be across multiple areas. So, depending on which side of the dining table this person sits at, they're either using the west energy or the southwest energy. If this person sometimes takes calls while they're in the kitchen pottering around or something, they literally are in a completely different area again. They're in the northwest. Just think about these different things when you do your floor plan, okay? And mark them out. Literally write onto your floor plan where you do your business, where you run your business from, so that you can see it as clear as crystal. And then we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, so now we get to the really meaty things. Okay, in 2025, we are obviously focusing on business feng shui. We want to think about this term, business feng shui, and the fact that every single one of you are on this masterclass tells me that you all understand to some degree that your business operates either using energy through energy, or that you use energy on your business, and that somewhere inside of you you understand that the environment in which you operate has a very important influence on your business, right? Then on top of that, I want to introduce to you this term, relevance. Okay, relevance. What do I mean by relevance? When we use feng shui, when I give people the different uses of feng shui or different solutions, more often than not, I find people write them all down and they try to, if I give them 5 top tips, for example, they go away and they try to apply all 5 tips within the same half an hour. Because the thinking is, if we apply all 5 tips, then we're going to get the benefit of all 5. But what I would like you to understand, just as with timing, is that life is a process, right? Business is a process, and true success comes through a process and stages. And so I'd like you to think about feng shui in terms of relevance and consider, what do I need to do now out of what Kurly gives me, and what's my priority right now, and think of it in terms of relevance. Okay, now we can come into relevance in different ways, and I'd like you to stage the application of your feng shui. So break it down into steps and decide which one are you going to prioritize first, see the benefit of, and then implement the next one. And this is why I talk about relevance. Okay, we've already talked about the floor plan and marking each of these areas clearly. Why am I asking you to do that? Because in feng shui, each of these energies that are coming from a different direction, they each bring a different aspect of prosperity to us. They bring a positivity and they bring a negativity. So what we need to do is we need to think about diagnosis. If we imagine for a second that all of us here today are feng shui doctors, okay? And this is the building or the body that we're going to diagnose, and the way in which we identify whether it's healthy or not is based on how our business is operating right now, how our lives are flowing, okay? And There's two ways to diagnose. There's the first way, which is just to literally write down, okay, this is what's going in this is what my business is, this is what's going well, and this is what's not going well. Okay. And then look at, okay, well, which of these directions is related to each of those things that are not going well. That's one way to look at this. But I would like to ask you today to go at this in the reverse way and diagnose using your floor plan, okay, for your business. So today I have put 1, 2, and 3 against 3 of these areas. And the reason for that is because we're going to prepare for Feng Shui in 2025. Now, for anyone who doesn't understand Feng Shui or is new to it, and for anyone who has worked with me many times before and understands Feng Shui well, Feng Shui uses timing, as we said. 2025 in Feng Shui energy starts on the 4th of February 2025. Okay, so why are we talking about it today in October 2024? I'll tell you why. Because energy, as we know, is a process of flow. So just as every day comes in through a sunrise, then we have the full major part of the day, and then it fades out into the next day through a sunset. In the same way, the energy of a year phases in, it rises in, and then we have the full year, and then it fades out, it sunsets out, if you like. We are literally at the start of the sunrise of energy for 2025. I'm just going to digress for a quick moment, if I may. So I'll take that off screen for a moment. Now, we are currently in 2024 in the energy year of the dragon energy. Dragon energy, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway, is dragon energy is all about transformation on a big scale. So the majority of people will have been experiencing quite extreme shifts of some sort or another. And if you've got your camera on, then just nod or shake your head if you would, or put your hand up if you have experienced major transformation this year. I'm going to say yes to that. Okay. This is normal in Dragon Year, by the way. Massive change. This particular dragon year is a very special dragon year because it's the start of a new 20-year chapter in energy for the earth, for all of us. So it's been a double whammy, and it's been magnificent change and transformation. Doesn't necessarily follow that it's going to be uncomfortable or comfortable. That's entirely in your hands, okay? And it's down to the specific changes going on for you as an individual. Okay, but Dragon Year has been, and it was meant to be, all about transformation and change. And why am I telling you this? Not to rub salt into the wound, I promise. It's because, first of all, it's really important to understand that, you know, that's what the energy of the year is about. Every year has a theme. I won't be talking about that theme today. I'll be talking about the theme of the 2025 year in part 2. I really encourage you to come to the day live, not just to sell a ticket, but because we'll be talking about it in a slightly different way through a live session. And obviously you have the opportunity to then come and talk to me in person at any point in the day. I'll be there the whole day, and I'll be there to bring all of that information to you. I'm more than happy if you can manage to grab me for 5 minutes during that day to sit down with you for 5 minutes with your floor plan. And that's obviously part of the magic of being at Magical Creators Live. But The reason why we're talking about 2025 today is because we have just started, and I'm sure, again, if you can show me by a show of hands, are you individually feeling that something is shifting and has been over the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe? I am. For me, it's a big relief, I have to say. Big relief is an understatement. Thank you for participating and putting your hands up. And it's because the sunrise of the next year's energy is coming in. And most years, if you look back to September or October, you'll notice something shifts in your lives. And pay attention to that. So pay attention to what's changing in your lives right now, because it's a kind of it's a glimpse, if you like, a trailer of a glimpse, a window into what 2025 might be hinting at for you individually. Okay. 2025 is the year of the wood snake. Okay, it's a very soft wood energy as well. It's a creative energy, which is a really nice energy to be working with. But in the main, I'll be talking about the energy of the year in part two, either at the live day or on the paid masterclass on Zoom. And of course, you'll get massive value in both. Right, so that's why we're talking about it in October. Now, what do you need to do? I'm going to share my screen again. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so in 2025, and you've got plenty of time to prepare for this, I would like you to focus on the north, the southwest, and the east, in that order. That's why I've called them 1, 2, 3. And the reason why I would like to talk to them in that order, sorry, I've just realised when I raised my hand, it's put a raised hand on screen. Let me just figure out how to.
That's fine. It will lower down.
There we go.
Curly, can you repeat the order?
Yeah.
North was first.
Yeah, so we've got it on screen. There's a number 1 by the north on the floor plan. There's a number 2 by the southwest on the floor plan, and a number 3 by the east on the floor plan. And I'm going to explain to you what to do with this in the months before the energy of 2025 is fully in daybreak, if you like, which is from February the 4th on in 2025. So write that date down, okay? So I'd like you to first of all draw your floor plan as we've explained. Then I'd like you to mark out each of these areas. The reason you're doing that is so that you can identify where the north starts and finishes, and all the areas of your home that the north covers, and the same with the southwest, and the same with the east. I'm just going to talk about that in a little bit more detail, not because you don't have the intelligence to see on screen, but just to really home in the point. So for example, the north you see on this particular floor plan is it's covering 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas in this house, right? And the same could be in your house. I've seen an area in a home cover up to 5, 6 rooms, because it either just dips into the room or more than that. And the reason why I'm saying this and highlighting this for you is, if for example I were to say, or put a vision board up in a particular area, you might not want to put it in a room that Joe Public comes into, or your visitors, your guests, etc. But if you know that your north portal of energy, where all the benefits of the north enter your home and land and grab hold, and therefore you can sit in and you can do something with across a number of the rooms in your house, you then have that many options for your vision board, for example. And you then know that absolutely one of these will be private for you, right? Because the truth is, not everybody wants the whole world and all their guests and visitors to see their vision board, right? It can be quite a private thing. You can have visions and goals in your business about all sorts of things that may not be for other people's eyes, right? You may want to activate and use that energy in a way that if you share your home with other people, you want to use exclusively for yourself. So you might do it through using one of the different rooms. So just really understand the power of the floor plan in identifying this. So for example, in this example that I'm showing you, if we were talking about a vision board and I said to you, put the vision board in the north, which I'm not at this point, you might decide, well, I don't want it to be in any one of these other areas, but the bedroom, this particular bedroom is mine. I can definitely put it there, right? I might ask you to place something specific in the north or in one of those areas, and you might need to think about the practical logistics of, can I even place that thing? So for example, if I asked you to place something, you probably wouldn't put it in this tiny little corner of the kitchen. There's very few things that you could practically put in your kitchen in a space like that, right? Your kitchen tends to be a space that has lots of things already out in it. You need access to the space fully. So just really start to have a think about how you can use each of these three areas in terms of how accessible are they to you, what sort of things could you use them for, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's the very first thing in your diagnosis part of this. The second thing I want to say is when you are looking at these three particular areas, before you go rushing into these areas, and it's everybody's first inclination to do this, by the way, I promise you that there will be at least one of you on this masterclass who literally goes and gets your phone, rushes into the center of your house after this masterclass to quickly identify, because it's really imperative where the north is. You put your arms out and you think, no, I'm not going to bother with the flow plan. I need to know where the north is now. And you start rushing into your north and flinging things about and clearing the area and this, that, and the other. Don't do that. Please don't do that. A good diagnosis is as good as a really powerful application and solution. It's part of the solution. Okay, so the very first thing that I would like you to do when you look at your north, your southwest, and your east is just to stop and look and see what's in those areas. Okay, see what's in those areas. What can you see? Is there any clutter? That's the obvious thought. Okay, but in this context, are you, first of all, using any of those areas in your business? And if so, how are you using those areas? What are the different ways we can use areas in business? You can make phone calls from an area. You can use a different area for your filming, your YouTubes. You can use an area for sitting in and working at your laptop. You can use an area to store your accounts. You can use an area to store supplies. There are a multitude of ways in which we can use different areas of our homes or our offices for our business. Placement is just one of them. I'd really like you to think about all the different ways in which we do this, and just really, when you do your floor plan, in fact, if you can, print off 2 or 3 different copies, and on one of them literally scribble all over that floor plan and mark out all the different areas and how you use them. and then look at them on that floor plan. Okay, and remember to bring these to the Magical Creators Live or to part 2, because that's where I'm really going to be telling you. I'm not going to spend any time on how you do floor plans or necessarily the relevance of the or any of that. That's what this is about today, and that's why we're going into it in some detail. Okay, but come with your copy that has marked on it how and where you use each of these areas. Okay, and remember, these particular areas are for 2025. They're not necessarily relevant to today. Okay, so you can relax. Don't go rushing into the areas and necessarily doing all the thing of clearing them and stuff. And look, I'm not exaggerating when I say to you, I go into people's homes to do consultations, whether it's online or in person, and people are literally, as I'm talking, they're picking up chairs, they're nudging tables out the way with their hip and grabbing photos off the wall, and they're literally like they're using every part of their body to carry and move and shift as I'm talking, trying to implement as we do that. Don't do that. That's not a powerful way in which to do this. We're business people, we're strategic. Do a strategic diagnosis and then do a strategic application once you've strategically worked out your solutions and the application of them. Really, really important. Okay. So supporting the areas energetically, we are going to talk about this today. Okay. Now, each of these areas has a natural element that supports it. Okay. And these areas don't change year on year. So we can put that support element in. We can do that before the next year, and we can do that and it will help that area. Okay. I just want to let you know though, as a side note, if you have a personal feng shui consultation, we support those areas in a much more strategic manner, and the elements we use might be slightly different. What I'm going to give you today is a basic support structure. Okay, so we're going to go round each of these areas, and I'm just going to give you, and so if you Google these areas, they your normal bagua or your normal energy for each of these areas is what we're going to support. Why are we going to do that? Because a healthy body or a healthy building is a supportive building, is a supportive body, and it will give you access to more of what you want, which is energy, positive energy. And with positive energy, we get positive results, positive ideas, positive applications. So let's start with the very, very first one. Okay, the very first area that I'm going to start off with is the left. I'm going to start off with the east. The east is a area of wood energy. Okay, now with wood energy in that area likes any kind of plant life. Okay, it's a really good area for you to have plants in. It's a really good area for you to have wooden furniture or sculptures or pictures of nature with lots of greenery in. It's an area that loves water. Why does it love water? Because water feeds plant energy. Okay, so it's a really great area for you to have any of those types of things in. The thoughts of colours it really loves are, believe it or not, blacks, dark blues, light blues, and any kind of green. Now let's just be really, really clear. I'm not asking you to redecorate your homes. I'm giving you this information because in a business feng shui sense, if you like to work with paper or your business involves with working with paper, that's a really great area for you to work with paper, because paper is made of wood energy. Okay, you might just find, actually, you know what? I sit in that area at the moment. That's where my desk is. So I want it to be a strong area. So I'm going to implement some of these things because of that. This is the way in which I want you to think about this. Okay? Then we move clockwise round to the southeast. Now, the southeast is also an area that likes wood energy. So, similar to the east, this is an area that you can put plants in. It's an area that you can have lots of wood in. It's an area that you can have light blues, dark blues, blacks, greens in. It likes water. The reason why I chose this particular floor plan to show you is if, like in this floor plan, you have a bedroom here, okay, do not put that. Do not put any water in the bedroom area because it's a highly energizing force. And what it does is it actually can interfere with your sleep, okay? So don't do that in that particular area. But generally speaking, if you have an office or your living room is in one of these two areas, those are sorts of things that you might want to put in those, okay? Plants like light. These areas are plant areas, so it's good if you have lots of light in these areas. If you've got dim lighting there, you might want to think about putting slightly stronger lighting in. Climate friendly, of course, you know. Then let's move around to the south. Okay, the south is a fire area. So it likes candles, it likes log burners, it likes any kind of reds, oranges, yellows, you know, the colors of warmth, pink. It likes materials that have lots of texture in. It's the area of creativity. So if you need to do creative, if you are working on creative functioning things, then that's a really good area for you to do any creative work from. So it might be, I mean, the sorts of things that I do that are very, very creative are once I've got somebody's floor plan and I've done all the major technical calculations, and then I'm thinking about, okay, what sort of solutions do I want to find for this person? I might go and work from the south to think about solutions really, really creatively. Okay? Then we move to the southwest. The southwest and also the west actually are I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. No, the southwest actually, just the southwest, is an earth area, is earth energy. It's very, very grounding. It's very stabilizing. It's great energy from which to do. If your business involves working with meditations or helping others with meditations or any kind of grounding work, I think when I joined the masterclass Zoom, before we clicked on record, someone was talking about working with crystals. It's a really great area to work with crystals from the southwest. Massively powerful because you literally tap into the earth energy really, really powerfully. If your business is about healing, that's a fantastic area to work from. Okay, this is just the generic floor plan of your home. Then we move, oh, and the colours. It likes really, really earthy colours there, okay? It likes, it's a wonderful area for you to, what's that stuff called? To work, it's a wonderful area for you to do any kind of healing work that is hands-on. Really, really great area to work with anyone in healing with hands-on work. And what I mean by that is a lot of us do healing type modalities online these days. But if your work involves hands-on work, so for example, if you're doing massage, if you're doing work in person with somebody, that's a great area. But you might also be doing hands-on work virtually. So, for example, I sometimes use a dowse. Okay, I might be online, but the dowse is hands-on. You can really use your intellect to think through what aspects of your work are hands-on, and then that's a really great area in which to do the hands-on work from. And that's my Douse agreeing with this, by the way, because I'm not moving my arm, as you can see. And if it's very responsive. Okay. The west is a metal area, so is the northwest. These two areas love to be really, really clear. These are the two areas that in your business, if you're working, if your business is very, very intellectual or very, very detail orientated, scientific, technical, any of these things in any way, shape, or form, this is the area that you want to work using. Okay. And in terms of your feng shui, what you want to do in these two areas is make sure they're really, really clear of any kind of clutter. And what I mean by clear is these are the two areas that like minimalism, that level of decluttering, you know. Over here in the east and the southeast are the two areas where you can have lots of placements. These two areas like that sort of thing. The west and the northwest, it's no coincidence that they're right opposite the other two areas, like total minimalism. So for example, my office is the whole floor plan of the building, because it's whole of the loft. It's a really large room, and those two areas have practically nothing in them. Practically nothing. I've used them very powerfully, but they're very, very minimalist. They like shiny things, bling things, they like metallic things, they like whites, greys, those sorts of colours. The north is water. It likes water. It likes metal structures or materials. It likes dark blues, really, really dark blues. So just think about water and the colours that you get in water. Water doesn't tend to be a light blue, so don't use that. That's a wood colour. Use dark blues. So this blue here, the color of the one, the all of these colors along here are watercolors. These two, the light blue and the turquoise, these are not watercolors. Okay, so just to give you an example, these are the colors that north likes. And then finally, the northeast is a earth area. So like the southwest, it's a good area for doing hands-on. It's good for healing. It's good for browns, beiges, terracotta, all those types of colors. It's a great area for you to have stones, crystals, those sorts of things in. It's a good area for you to do any kind of stabilizing work in as well. Okay, I should have said back over here in the west, in the north, sorry, is a really great idea. It's a great area for you to, if you're working just with a basic, super basic level of feng shui, to do anything around numbers in money stuff. Okay. Activation. I'm going to be talking at Magical Creators Live, and in the part 2, I'm going to be talking a lot using the term activation. Activation is when you activate something using feng shui. It's where you bring to life the energy of that area, and you start to tap into that energy and use it in your business. And I would like you, one of the reasons I wanted you to understand the power of your blueprint or your floor plan is these are literally, almost see them as portals into those, whatever that area is tapping into energetically. So, for example, the most powerful way that I use regularly on a daily basis, in fact, I'm using it right now as we speak, to activate an area or to tap into use the portal of energy and use it to activate my life is to sit there and use it for actions in my business. So for example, right now I'm using a particular position in 2024 that through my personal chart in my feng shui taps into the energy of solutions and mitigating or nullifying anything negative. And for me, I found that area it's magic. It's literally magic. And I actually at one point earlier on in the year, I have to say, I actually stopped sitting here because I was getting too much work and too many different people coming to me with things, and I just needed to rest because this year for me, the biggest transformation for me is around my health and my well-being. So I was feeling quite challenged in that I just needed to rest. So I actually found I had to stop sitting in this area when I was doing things because every time I sat in this area, I would literally get a call or an email which led to a new piece of work or business. And even at the point where I'd sort of stopped doing any work, every time I sat here, something else, an opportunity would come to me. So, what I would like you to do is to understand that by the time we get to part two, I'll literally be talking through with you what each of these areas do and in terms of business in 2025, and to understand that the most powerful way that you can tap into or activate that energy for yourselves is to use that particular area for a specific activity in your business. But remember this thing about relevance, okay? And that's really, really, really important. So I'm just going to stop the share for a moment. And in fact, no, I won't. Bear with me. I'm going to just move on to the next slide. Here we go. Right, so part two is going to be about practical areas for you to activate in 2025 and what each of those means. So even though in this diagram here, I've said to you, look, 1, 2, and 3 are going to be your most powerful areas in 2025, and you can start to diagnose and work with these areas right now and to stabilize them. And you know, so I've given you some of the materials, some of the colors, some of the uses of these areas that you can do right now. The major thing that I would like you to do is literally just, if you were to get 3 pieces of paper with your floor plan on, you're going to save the last one for part 2. The first one is going to be where you mark out what's going on in each of these areas, okay? What do I mean by that? I mean, you might, so for example, I have a desk where I personally love gadgets. It's who I am. So I have my laptop, I have my screen, and I have my iPad, and I have my phone, and it makes me really happy. Whether I'm using all of these screens or not, it makes me really happy and it helps me be productive because I like different things to be in their right places, their right eye. But as a result of that, I have literally got I think I've got about 25 different cables coming off each of these different things that I've got in front of me. That could be quite messy, right? So I'm going to mark that down on my floor plan, not just because A, it could be messy, but B, because that's a massive power surge of energy, isn't it? It's actually it's electricity and it's all going into and doing something. So that's a point of energy, isn't it? I might mark out, for example, that there's particular areas that my cat likes to hang out in. We all know that pets are naturally intuitive about energy, so pay attention to that. Mark those areas. I might want to mark out that other people in my household tend to use particular areas. I might mark out on my floor plan where I have things going on with the property, right? So, for example, if you've got a damp patch, if you've got a leak, if you've got a dripping tap, if you've got lots of fixes that seem to be in one or two of these areas that need doing, mark those out on your floor plan. Okay, because these are all telling you something, they're telling you really important information. I had a client who, and I am keeping an eye on the timing, Ginga. I had a client who rang me up and said that there was something going on with her husband. She told me what it was, and I said to her, okay, because we'd done a very detailed feng shui, so I had all her floor plans in front of me. I pulled them out and I said to her, I want you to look at what's going on in that area, a specific area, and tell me what's going on there, because I can tell you everything that you've just told me relates to that particular area. So she literally, on our Zoom, she literally just took me to the area and she showed me round. And I said, there it is, there's your thing that you need to fix. I saw it straight away. Conversely, the same client then rang me at a different point and said to me, Kurly, I've got, like, there's something wrong with the bathroom. And it's really odd, because I'd said to her at the beginning, just like I'm saying to you, pay attention to when things are not going right in the house and where they tend to be in your property. And it just so happened there was a particular area that she had like fixes that needed doing, and they just, problems kept showing up. So we paid attention to that. We looked at what was going on in in their lives, its whole family, and we homed in on particular things. So pay attention to things not right in the house, messes, where people or animals tend to spend time. Pay attention to anything that feels out of the ordinary. Okay? Pay attention to and mark on where you spend your time and what types of activity you do in your business in those areas. So that's floor plan 2 that you're going to bring to part 2. Okay? And then in the third one, that's the one where we're going to mark our solutions, and I'm going to literally tell you what to do with those things. Okay? Now, in part 3, I want to be really clear and set some expectations. We are not going to be able to do a detailed, personalized feng shui, but what we will be able to do, and what you will walk away understanding, is what each of those areas mean in feng shui. Okay, because they're all usable. What you will be able to do is bring solutions to some of your issues, if not all of them, using the life class, specifically using the information I provide, which will be about business. And then you will have time to ask questions and talk to me. And then I will give you 1 or 2 bonus timings like I did today. Going back to this, and the very last thing that I want to give to you today, and this is for you, in this year's feng shui, the year that we're in now, 2024, because obviously we build on our future using the present, and we all know this. And that is, in this year, in 2024, I would like you to be very, very careful to not use for your business, if you can, or any types of actions around your business, or any major renovations, or any, that kind of thing in your home, in particular this one area, and that is the west. Okay, so when you've identified where the west is in your home, clearly what we're not saying is cordon off this area and just stop everyone in your house using it, etc. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't do anything important relating to your business in that area. Okay, and definitely don't do any kind of renovations here. Okay, so with that, I've used up an hour and a half, but I feel like I've done very well compared to my usual timing, which can go on and on. Inga, if you could unmute yourself for a moment, would it be okay if we do, say, a 10-minute Q&A?
Sure. Yeah.
With the people on the call. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment, and I'm going to ask anyone who wants to ask a question to raise their hands, either visually on screen or using the raise hand function, and to only ask questions that are relevant to what we've talked about today. I know that there will be the slight temptation to ask questions about, where should I be doing this from, or that. That's what we'll cover in part 2. Okay? Does anybody have any questions?
Let me pause the recording.
Sure. Okay, so somebody has just asked a really wonderful question, and that is about the different floors on a house. And I'm sure if one person has asked this question, and other people will be wondering about it too. So when we live in a house and we have multiple floors, the obvious quick answer would be, your floors layer one on top of the other. So when you've done your layout and your compass for the ground floor, that the next floor is exactly the same, but that is not actually the case. Sometimes when you have an upstairs floor, it only covers part of the ground floor, which means that it has a different center, if you see what I mean. So for example, if I go back to this this one, for example, on the slide, if we imagined that, oh, what have I done? If we imagined that these were 2 floors of the same building, you can see that, and we imagined that the the floor on the left sat over only half of the ground floor on the right, you would then be able to see that, look, the center of this floor is in the middle there, and if the other one sat over the top of that, its center, if it only covered half of this, would be closer to here. Can you see that? So that's why we deal with the floors differently. What I'm asking you to do is, if your office is on the ground floor, that's really easy to work with because you just do your ground floor plan. If your office is on an upstairs floor, then do that floor plan again. Do it as if you're doing it afresh. Find its center afresh, okay? Just in case you're wondering, how do you find the center of a floor plan? You literally put 2 lines across, and then you find the center that way. If you've got an odd shape, it's the point where if you were to balance it on something, it would then sit evenly. Okay? So yeah, going back to your floor plan, and if your office is upstairs, it's worth marking out your office within the context of the whole of that floor. Okay? So if we can just pause the recording again. Okay, so we've just had a Q&A off camera, some of it, and one of the things that I did want to very quickly say to bring the whole session together, if you like, is, when we think of floor plans, they can feel quite boring and, oh, onerous? Why would I want to do that? But the truth is, there's a level of access that you get and manifest. It's a manifestation tool to write things down. So when you get your floor plan right and you start to mark all these things on in feng shui, it makes it so much easier and quicker to find the right solutions, to find the right order of application, and all these other things that create for a really, really powerful feng shui. But what it also does is it acts as a massively powerful diagnosis tool, which is what's been our focus today. Because, when you walk around your house and you look and you see what everything is and where it is, you see it differently to if you mark it out on a floor plan. And that's why it's a really powerful tool. And obviously, I look forward to seeing all of your floor plans, which I will do if you come to Magical Creators Live. So, I am, on that note, going to say thank you to all of you and ask the angels to bless your feng shui in your homes, in your offices, and in your businesses, and pass back over to our amazing hostess, Inga Dexter.
Thank you, Curly. It was a lovely session, and I'm really looking forward to part 2. And as we mentioned before, if you watch it before 1st of November, because tickets close, sales closes on 1st of November. You're welcome to join us in person. It's in London, in Heathrow. Or if you watch it after 1st of November, look for the details for part 2. It will be available either live or on demand, but it will be a paid session. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Share with anyone who needs to hear about it. And let's have magical and prosperous 2025 and beyond.